documentary. Today we will dive into the heart of Africa's savanna, the unique and fragile ecosystem. The first light of dawn breaks over the vast African savanna, painting the sky in a breathtaking gradient of orange, pink, and violet. A faint mist clings to the golden grass, slowly dissipating as the warmth of the sun stretches across the horizon. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of earth and distant rain. The gentle rustle of the wind weaves through the acacia trees, their umbrella-like canopies casting long, slender shadows over the open plains. In the distance, a lion's deep, resonant roar pierces the morning silence, a declaration of power, a reminder that the savanna belongs to those who can survive its trials. Nearby, a herd of wildebeests stirs from its rest, their ears twitching at the familiar sound. A lone elephant trumpets softly, calling to her calf. Birds take flight, their wings slicing through the cool air, as life awakens in this vast, untamed world. This is the African savanna, a land of extremes, a world where life and death dance in an eternal rhythm, dictated by the rise and fall of the seasons. Here, the dry season scorches the earth, turning rivers into mere trickles, forcing every creature to adapt or perish. When the rains return, they transform the land into a paradise of green, quenching the thirst of thousands of animals, fueling a new cycle of life. It is a place of both harshness and beauty, where survival depends on resilience, strength, and sometimes, sheer luck. Yet, the savanna is more than just a battlefield for survival. It is a delicate and intricate web of life, a system where every being from the towering elephants to the smallest dung beetle plays a crucial role. The balance is fragile, threatened by forces both natural and man-made. The actions of one species, particularly humans, have the power to tip the scales in ways that could change the landscape forever. To truly understand the savanna, one must witness its stories, the silent battles fought in the grasslands, the unbreakable bonds between mother and child, the relentless cycles that govern every living thing. In this documentary, we will walk beside a lioness as she hunts, feel the weight of wisdom carried by an old elephant matriarch, run with a young wildebeest as he braves the great migration, and stand with the Maasai warrior and the wildlife ranger as they strive to protect this ancient land. Through their eyes, we will come to see the African savanna not just as a landscape, but as a living, breathing entity, one that holds the secrets of survival, the lessons of nature, and the hope of coexistence. The huntress, Nia, the lioness. The wind whispers through the tall golden grass as Nia crouches low, her sleek tawny body blending perfectly with the shifting hues of the savanna. Her ember eyes are locked onto her target, a young zebra grazing a short distance away from the rest of the herd. Every muscle in her body is coiled, her breathing slow and controlled. She is patience embodied, waiting for the precise moment to strike. For a lioness, hunting is an art, a skill honed through years of practice and instinct. It is not merely about brute strength but timing, coordination, and the element of surprise. Nia knows this hunt is not just for herself but for her pride, her sisters, their cubs, the future of the savanna is ruthless. Without a successful hunt, hunger will gnaw at them, weakening the cubs who rely on their mothers for sustenance. The zebra flicks its ears, sensing something, a presence, a shift in the air. It hesitates, its instincts warning it of danger. But Nia remains still. She has learned that hesitation is a hunter's greatest tool. Then, the moment arrives. With a burst of power, she explodes from the grass, her muscles propelling her forward in a blur of speed and precision. The zebra bolts, its hooves pounding the earth in a desperate attempt to escape. The herd erupts in a chaotic stampede, but Nia has already chosen her target. She closes the distance, each stride calculated, her focus unshaken. The chase is brutal, short-lived. The zebra veers left, then right, but Nia is faster. With one final leap, she brings her prey down, her powerful jaws closing over its throat. The zebra struggles briefly, but the end is inevitable. Its life fades, claimed by the eternal cycle of the savannah. Nia steps back, breathing heavily, her sides heaving. The scent of fresh blood carries on the wind, a signal to her pride. Within moments, they emerge from the tall grass, her sisters, the cubs, the future of their lineage. They approach cautiously, their eyes flicking between Nia and the kill. The cubs, still young and inexperienced, paw at the zebra's still warm body, their noses wrinkling as they inhale the unfamiliar scent of fresh death. For the cubs, this is more than a meal, it is a lesson. They will watch, they will learn, and one day, they too will take down their own prey. This is how the savannah shapes its hunters. As the pride begins to feed, Nia licks the blood from her muzzle, her gaze drifting across the vast plains. The cycle continues. Today, they have won, but tomorrow will bring new challenges, new hunts, new struggles. In the savannah, there is no rest for the hunter. The sun climbs higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the cracked earth. The heat is relentless, pressing down on the landscape like an invisible force. In the distance, the shimmering haze of a mirage distorts the horizon, making the distant acacia trees appear as if they are floating above the ground. A slow, rhythmic sound echoes through the air, the deep, resonant rumbles of a moving herd. The ground trembles beneath their weight as they march forward, a procession of giants making their way toward a distant watering hole. At the front of the group walks Jabari, the matriarch, her massive frame weathered by time, her tusks long and slightly curved, each one bearing the scars of a life spent navigating the wild. She leads with wisdom, not brute strength. Every step she takes is guided by memories etched deep into her mind, waterholes from decades past, migratory routes passed down from ancestors, the scent of danger carried on the wind. She has seen seasons of abundance and years of relentless drought. She has seen her kin born and buried. And she remembers. Behind her, the younger members of the herd follow in her footsteps, trusting her guidance. Among them, a small calf stumbles over his own feet, his trunk swaying clumsily as he struggles to keep up. His mother, Jabari's daughter, reaches out with her trunk, gently nudging him forward. Jabari watches them from the corner of her eye. He reminds her of another calf from long ago, one that did not survive. The memory comes unbidden. The Great Drought. It had been a cruel year, the worst in her lifetime. The rivers had dried up, the grasslands had turned to dust, and the trees had withered under the unrelenting sun. Jabari had led the herd for miles, searching for water, for sustenance, anything to keep her family alive. But the land had offered nothing but emptiness. She remembers the cries of the calves, the hollow eyes of the elders, the slow collapse of those who could not continue. She remembers standing over the lifeless body of her sister, taken not by a predator but by the merciless hunger that comes when nature turns its back. Now, years later, Jabari still carries those memories, using them to guide her herd away from danger. She knows where the hidden waterholes lie, even when the land appears barren. She knows which trees will still hold moisture beneath their bark, which dry riverbeds may yield a trickle if they dig deep enough. But knowledge is not the only threat she must pass on. She has seen the new dangers, the ones that do not come from drought or predators, but from creatures walking on two legs. Humans. Jabari has known humans for as long as she has known the land. Some, like the Maasai, have always been part of the savannah, living alongside the animals, respecting their presence. But there are others. The ones who come with loud machines, with fire and steel. The ones who took her sister's life not for food, not for survival, but for the ivory that grew from her face. Jabari still remembers the day the humans came. The loud cracks that shattered the air, the way her sister fell without a sound. The way the herd had screamed, circling her body, prodding her with their trunks, unwilling to accept the silence that followed. She remembers. And she has not forgotten. As they approach the watering hole, Jabari lifts her trunk, sniffing the air for danger. The scent of water is there, but so is something else, a trace of something foreign. The metallic tang of human presence. She stops, rumbling a warning to the herd. The others slow, ears flaring, waiting for her decision. They trust her completely, and in return, she must ensure their safety. She scans the area. A cluster of bushes trembles slightly. A flash of movement, a glint of metal. Poachers. Jabari knows what must be done. She does not charge blindly, does not give in to fear. Instead, she turns, leading her herd away from the trap that has been set for them. The water will have to wait. The journey will be longer, harder, but she will not let history repeat itself. As the elephants move away, the poachers remain hidden, frustrated by the matriarch's wisdom. They will wait for another opportunity. But Jabari will always be watching. She has lived long enough to know that survival does not belong to the strongest, nor to the fastest. It belongs to those who remember. And she remembers everything. The sun burns high in the sky, casting waves of heat that ripple across the golden plains. A great cloud of dust rises into the air, kicked up by the pounding of thousands of hooves. The land trembles beneath the endless march of the wildebeest, an army of travelers driven forward by an instinct as old as time itself. Among them, struggling to keep pace, is Ao. He is young, just weeks old, but in the savannah, youth is no shield from the hardships of life. From the moment he took his first wobbly steps, he has been in motion, swept up in the great migration that will carry his kind across hundreds of miles in search of greener pastures. Around him, the herd moves as one, an unbreakable tide of bodies. Their scent, a mixture of dust, sweat, and earth, is the only thing that feels familiar in this ever-changing landscape. His mother is beside him, her presence the one constant in the chaos. Her eyes, dark and watchful, flick toward him often, silently urging him to stay close, to not fall behind. But keeping up is hard. His legs, still not as strong as the adults, ache with every step. The sun is merciless, his throat parched from the unending journey. The calf wants to stop to rest, even for a moment, but he knows he cannot. In the savannah, to stop is to invite death. And death is never far. Ao has already learned this in the cruelest of ways. A few nights ago, under the eerie glow of a full moon, the herd had stopped to graze in a quiet clearing. The adults had formed a loose circle, their ears twitching, their tails flicking away flies as they chewed on dry grass. The calves, exhausted from the day's march, had rested against their mother's sides. But then chaos. A blur of movement. A whisper of wind before the silence was shattered by a scream. Lions. They had come without warning, emerging from the darkness like ghosts. The herd had exploded into motion, hooves hammering against the ground, eyes wild with fear. Ao had run, his tiny heart pounding, his mother's urgent grunts pushing him forward. But not everyone had been fast enough. Another calf, one he had walked beside for days, had fallen. In the panic, Ao had seen only a flash of golden fur, a pair of gleaming fangs. Then silence. The herd had moved on. The fallen had been left behind. That was the way of the savannah. Ao had not asked about the calf again. He had simply followed. Now, the river looms ahead. A wide, snaking body of water, deceptively calm on the surface. The herd slows as they approach, eyes scanning the murky depths. They know the dangers that lurk beneath. The river is a graveyard, a place of both salvation and slaughter. Crocodiles. They wait beneath the water, patient and still, their ancient eyes unblinking. They have seen this ritual before, the crossing of the wildebeest. It is a feast that comes only once a year, but when it does, it is plentiful. Ao hesitates at the riverbank, his small hooves sinking slightly into the wet mud. His mother is already moving forward, the water rising around her legs. The rest of the herd surges behind her, unwilling to be left behind. He swallows his fear and follows. The water is colder than he expected, sending a shock through his body. His legs kick instinctively, struggling to find footing on the slippery riverbed. Then a ripple in the water. A dark shape, moving fast. Ao doesn't see it at first. But his mother does. A massive crocodile, its armored back breaking the surface, its jaws parting just enough to reveal rows of jagged teeth. Panic surges through the herd. Ao feels the sudden movement, the frantic thrashing of bodies around him. He kicks harder, trying to stay close to his mother. The crocodile lunges. For a moment, the world slows. Ao feels the rush of water as the beast surges forward, its tail propelling it like a missile. The calf freezes, too small, too weak to fight. But his mother does not hesitate. She twists sharply, her powerful hooves striking the water with a force that sends waves crashing in every direction. The crocodile snaps, its teeth clamping onto empty air. Ao is shoved forward by the current, his mother pushing him toward the shallows. The moment he feels solid ground beneath his hooves, he stumbles forward, gasping, shaking. Behind him, the water churns. The crocodile, having lost its chance, slips back into the depths, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. Ao collapses onto the dry bank, his small body trembling. His mother is beside him in an instant, her warm breath washing over him as she nuzzles his side. He is alive. But not all will be so lucky. The herd does not stop to mourn those who do not make it. They simply continue forward, the endless march resuming as though nothing had happened. Ao stands, his legs unsteady but determined. He does not look back at the river. There is only one path in the savannah, forward. And so, he follows. As the first light of dawn washes over the vast African savanna, Elijah stands at the edge of his village, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The cool morning air carries the distant roar of a lion, a sound both familiar and foreboding. His fingers tighten around the smooth wooden shaft of his spear, the weight of responsibility pressing against his chest. For centuries, his people the Maasai have shared this land with the great beasts that roam it. They have lived by the rhythms of nature, herding their cattle across the plains, respecting the balance between predator and prey. But now, that balance is shifting. The lions have grown bolder. A week ago, one had taken a calf from his father's herd, slipping through the thorny acacia fence in the dead of night. The village elders had debated what should be done. Some had argued for revenge for the old way. A lion hunt would restore honor, they said. It would show the beasts that the Maasai were not to be challenged. But Elijah was not so sure. He had listened to the stories of his grandfather, tales of a time when the land was vast and untouched, when the lions hunted only what they needed and the Maasai took only what was necessary. But things had changed. The land was shrinking. The herds were growing. And with them, the conflict. The lion that had taken their calf was not an enemy. It was hungry. Now, as the sun begins to rise, Elijah makes his decision. He turns away from the village and begins walking. His destination is not the lion's den, but a small outpost on the outskirts of the savannah, the ranger station. A different path. Elijah arrives at the station just as the heat of the day begins to set in. The place is small, a cluster of tents and simple wooden structures. The scent of smoke drifts through the air from a nearby cooking fire, mixing with the sharper tang of diesel fuel. A group of rangers stands near a jeep, their rifles slung over their shoulders. Among them is Noah, a wildlife ranger Elijah has come to respect. Noah spots him and nods in greeting. Elijah, you've come about the lion. Elijah nods. My father's calf was taken. Noah sighs. I heard. Your elders want to hunt it? They want to protect the cattle, Elijah says carefully. Noah studies him for a long moment. And what do you want? Elijah hesitates. He has grown up knowing that to kill a lion is to prove oneself a warrior. It is an act of bravery, a rite of passage. But standing here, in this place where men fight not to kill lions but to save them, he wonders if there is another way. I want to protect my people, Elijah says finally. But I do not think killing the lion will solve our problem. Noah nods approvingly. Then let's find another solution. The guardians of the savannah. That night, Elijah does not return to his village. Instead, he joins the rangers as they drive out into the bush, tracking the lion that has been preying on the cattle. The truck rumbles over uneven terrain, headlights cutting through the darkness. Elijah rides in the back, his spear resting against his shoulder. The men around him are quiet, their eyes scanning the land. Somewhere out here, a lion prowls. They find its tracks near a watering hole, a set of deep paw prints in the soft earth, leading toward the hills. The rangers set up their equipment, placing motion-sensitive cameras along the paths where the lion is most likely to travel. Elijah watches as Noah plants a tall, spiked fence around the village's grazing fields, a structure designed to keep predators at bay. It is not the way of the past, but perhaps it is the way of the future. When dawn breaks, they find fresh footage on the cameras. The lion has come close, circling the village's outskirts, but it has not attacked. Elijah smiles. The fence is working. Perhaps there is a way for warriors and lions to coexist after all.
There's a big one. He's coming here.
He smells us.
Oh my God.
Smelling us.
Hey. Can we come here and
Why didn't you say hi?
Noah, the wildlife ranger. The sun is sinking behind the acacia trees, bleeding streaks of red and gold across the sky. A warm breeze rustles the dry grass, whispering secrets of the savannah's ancient past. Somewhere in the distance, a hyena whoops, its eerie call drifting over the plains. Noah tightens his grip on the steering wheel of his rugged patrol vehicle, his eyes scanning the horizon. The work of a wildlife ranger never ends. Tonight, he is on a mission. A report has come in: poachers have been spotted near a watering hole, setting traps for elephants. The thought makes his stomach tighten. These men are not hunters following ancient traditions. They are criminals, driven by greed, seeking ivory and rhino horn to sell on the black market. Noah has spent years fighting against them, patrolling the savannah, dismantling traps, and working with local communities to protect the land. But the battle is relentless. For every snare he removes, another is set. For every poacher caught, another takes his place. Still, he cannot stop. Because if they do not fight for the animals, who will? The chase. The radio crackles to life. Noah, do you copy? A voice calls. It's Juma, one of his fellow rangers. I'm here, Noah replies. We found something fresh: tracks near the watering hole. Footprints. 3, maybe 4 men. They're armed. Noah's jaw tightens. Stay put. I'm on my way. He slams his foot down on the gas, the vehicle jolting forward. Dust billows behind him as he speeds toward the coordinates Juma has sent. The night air rushes through the open windows, carrying the sense of dry earth and distant rain. When he arrives, Juma and the others are crouched in the tall grass, their rifles at the ready. Noah joins them, peering through his binoculars toward the clearing ahead. 3 figures move in the moonlight, their shadows stretching long against the cracked earth. One carries a rifle slung over his shoulder. Another is setting a snare, looping thick wire into a cruel noose meant to tighten around an elephant's leg. The third keeps watch, his head swiveling nervously. They are careful, but not careful enough. Noah signals to his team. Slowly, they creep forward, silent as the night itself. Then, a twig snaps. The poacher on watch spins around, his eyes widening in alarm. He shouts something to his companions, and in an instant, they are running, bolting toward the trees. Go! Noah yells. His team surges forward. The chase is on. The poachers are fast, but the rangers know the land better. They weave through the brush, dodging thorns, and leaping over rocks. One poacher stumbles, his foot catching on a root. Juma tackles him before he can rise, pinning him to the ground. The second poacher reaches the tree line, but another ranger cuts him off, raising his rifle. Stop! Hands up! The man hesitates, then slowly raises his hands. The third poacher, the one with the rifle, does not stop. Noah races after him, his boots pounding against the dirt. The man is heading toward a waiting motorbike, parked just beyond the ridge. If he reaches it, he will escape. Not if Noah can help it. Summoning his last reserves of energy, he lunges forward, tackling the man to the ground. The rifle clatters away, skidding across the dirt. The poacher thrashes, but Noah holds firm, twisting his arms behind his back. Not tonight, he mutters under his breath. The aftermath. By the time the sun rises, the poachers are in custody. They will be taken to the authorities, their weapons confiscated, their traps dismantled. It is a victory. But Noah knows it is only one battle in a much larger war. As he stands by the watering hole, watching a herd of elephants approach in the golden morning light, he feels the familiar weight of responsibility settle over him. For now, these gentle giants are safe. But the fight is far from over. And he will be here, standing watch, for as long as it takes. As the golden sun rises over the African savanna, its light spills across the vast plains, bringing warmth to a land teeming with life. The landscape is alive with motion, the slow, deliberate steps of elephants heading to a waterhole, the quick, nervous movements of impalas grazing in the grass, the silent prowling of a leopard slinking through the shadows. Life here moves in rhythms as old as time itself. This land is not just a home to creatures great and small, it is an intricate web of survival, where each being has a role to play. Every predator, every prey, every tree and river, each pulse with the heartbeat of the wild. The eternal cycle of life and death, struggle and survival, has shaped the savanna for millennia. But now, that cycle is under threat. Human expansion, climate change, and poaching are disrupting the balance that has sustained this land for generations. Where once great herds of elephants roamed freely, now they must navigate fragmented landscapes. Where the lion's roar once dominated the night, silence threatens to take its place. And yet, hope remains. For as long as there are those who fight for the savanna, those who understand its delicate balance, there is still a chance to preserve its beauty. The Great Migration, a testament to survival. One of the most powerful symbols of the eternal cycle is the Great Migration. Each year, over 1 million wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles embark on a journey across the Serengeti, following the rains in search of fresh grazing lands. It is one of nature's most breathtaking spectacles, a never-ending movement of life across the land. For the wildebeest, survival is a relentless struggle. Thank you for watching, see you soon for next adventure.